there's one specific thing about why most coding tutorials teach you backwards that rarely makes it into the version you usually hear. Imagine a room full of aspiring coders, laptops open, eyes glued to screens, as instructor John walks everyone through the latest web framework. The vibe is electric. Everyone's eager to learn. But here's the kicker. Only 30% of them will actually retain the knowledge they're soaking in. Yeah, you heard that right. A staggering 70% will walk away feeling confused, overwhelmed, and a little more than defeated. Why? Because most coding tutorials, in their excitement to showcase frameworks and flashy features, are teaching backwards. You might be thinking, backwards? What does that even mean? Here's the deal. In typical coding tutorials, the emphasis is often on the end result, the shiny app, the snazzy website, without enough focus on the fundamentals. It's like trying to bake a cake without understanding the difference between flour and sugar. Sure, you might get something that looks like a cake, but it probably won't taste good. So let's unpack this. The coding world is buzzing with the emergence of agile development and test-driven development. These methodologies push for writing tests first and designing software with flexibility in mind. The real magic happens when we flip the script. Instead of diving headfirst into frameworks, we need to ground ourselves in the principles of coding, the why, the how, and the what. Think about it. When you start a coding tutorial, you're often greeted with a bunch of code snippets and a promise that by the end, you'll have a fully functioning app. What's missing? A conceptual foundation. Many tutorials skip critical explanations about encapsulation, code organization, and structure. Instead of empowering you to think like a developer, they're just handing you a toolbox without showing you how to use any of the tools inside. This trend isn't just a random observation, it's a significant issue in tech education. A lot of creators out there want clicks, views, and engagement. And what better way to attract viewers than with the latest buzzword laden tech? But here's the catch. This approach often leads to a frustrating cycle of learning and unlearning. You might pick up a framework and build an app, but soon enough you'll hit a wall when you need to customize it or troubleshoot an error. You'll find yourself backtracking, trying to grasp concepts that should have been taught first. There's a brilliant example from a popular YouTube series where a creator builds a complete application from scratch. The viewers are excited, but as they dive deeper into the project, a small problem arises, a bug in the code. Instead of being able to fix it quickly, many of them flounder, mainly because the foundation wasn't laid down properly. They didn't understand the logic behind what they were building, and suddenly it's all unraveling. Now, consider a different approach. Picture a scenario where the tutorial starts with basic principles, variables, functions, and control structures. Then it builds up to how these elements come together in a framework. The same series could introduce concepts like why we write tests first before jumping into the actual coding. This way, learners can grasp the structure and purpose behind the code, leading to a deeper understanding rather than just rote memorization of syntax. Let's break it down. Take a look at some successful content creators who've embraced this mindset. In their videos, they often begin with a real-world problem and then demonstrate how coding can provide a solution. They walk through the thought process before diving into the code, making every line meaningful. When the viewer understands not just the what, but the why, things start clicking into place. On the flip side, content that focuses on frameworks too early can create a skewed perception of coding. Viewers might think that learning to code is all about mastering the latest trends, ignoring some of the oldest and most reliable principles that have stood the test of time. Sure, knowing a popular framework might get you a job faster, especially if you're just trying to land your first gig. But if you don't understand the core principles of code design. Now, let's talk about momentum. The coding landscape is evolving at lightning speed. New frameworks pop up every day, and while it's exciting, it can also be overwhelming for newbies. This rush for the latest tech has led to a lack of focus on foundational skills. Whether it's a slick tutorial on building a React app or an intricate guide to mastering Node.js, if the basics aren't there, it's like building a house on sand. And here's where you as a viewer can take action. If you're delving into coding, demand better content. Look for tutorials that emphasize the why and the how. Search for creators who give context before code. Support those who take the time to create a learning path, instead of just a project walkthrough. You'll find that investing that extra time up front and understanding the principles will pay dividends as you progress. The beauty of coding lies in its logical structure. It's a puzzle, and every piece has its place. When you understand how the pieces fit together, not only does it make coding more enjoyable, but it also empowers you to innovate. You'll find yourself approaching problems with a fresh perspective, knowing that you can build solutions from the ground up, whether it involves navigating a complex framework or troubleshooting a stubborn bug. So where do we go from here? Embrace the concept of learning backwards, but in the right way. Start with the fundamentals, then let the frameworks be your tools, not your crutch. Look for resources that prioritize solid coding principles, encapsulation, modularity, and test-driven development. These are not just buzzwords. They're your roadmap in this expansive world of tech. As we wrap this up, remember, the goal of learning to code isn't just to finish a project. It's about building a skill set that lasts. It's about understanding the craft, so when you encounter a new challenge, you're not just guessing, but confidently applying what you've learned. The next time you click on a tutorial, take a step back. Ask yourself if you're being led into the deep end without a life raft, or whether you're being guided to a solid foundation first. Make the choice to learn in a way that builds confidence and competence. Keep that curiosity alive. Understand the language of logic, and watch how coding transforms from a daunting task into an exhilarating journey. In the end, it's not about just learning to code, it's about coding to learn. Give yourself the space to grow, and you'll find that the world of programming opens up in ways you never imagined. The pattern inside why most coding tutorials teach you backwards is consistent, and that is what makes it worth getting into properly. The deeper you go, the clearer it is that why most coding tutorials teach you backwards has layers that are not visible from the outside. Once that context is in place, a lot of other things about why most coding tutorials teach you backwards start to make more sense. The deeper you go, the clearer it is that why most coding tutorials teach you backwards has layers that are not visible from the outside. Once that context is in place, a lot of other things about why most coding tutorials teach you backwards start to make more sense. The deeper you go, the clearer it is that why most coding tutorials teach you backwards has layers that are not visible from the outside. Once that context is in place, a lot of other things about why most coding tutorials teach you backwards start to make more sense. The deeper you go, the clearer it is that why most coding tutorials teach you backwards has layers that are not visible from the outside. Once that context is in place, a lot of other things about why most coding tutorials teach you backwards start to make more sense. The deeper you go, the clearer it is that why most coding tutorials teach you backwards has layers that are not visible from the outside. Once that context is in place, a lot of other things about why most coding tutorials teach you backwards start to make more sense. If this breakdown helped, share your take in the comments and subscribe for the next one.